We'll call this meeting to order at 3:17 p.m. on Friday, August 22nd. This will be a discussion on the new construction committee. And let's start out with something on one of the highlights here. Added district parking. So they have French in there with the question. French with the question. And this is a three-pronged attack. Guys, this is the meeting on the potential, not the sale, potential sale. Sorry, I'm going to talk loud anyways. Sorry, I put in your plug on this side. So the potential sale of the property was the first committee meeting that put out the bid. If we do hire a construction firm, but let's talk about other things before we get there. Carrie, you want to start?
So I'd like to know what the district's needs are, including early childhood, because we already talked about free preschool for children, 4-year-olds, and then the accommodation of early childhood in one location. Is that
definitely.
Free preschool for early childhood, and where would it be located? Come on, move up front. I am too. I have one here that doesn't work well. And that's a great question, Carrie. And I have a lot of questions. Travis, you ready with the numbers? If Jim doesn't have them, you can back them up. Okay, go ahead.
Numbers. Oh,
free preschool, I think, is what Carrie said.
Yeah, so what I'm assuming is that you're giving me a direction to get this for you, like the district needs. I know that the proposal that was submitted went under the idea of the need of Governor Whitmer is constantly talking about,
pre-K,
childhood, pre-K. And so that's where that kind of vision came from the initial proposal. But yes, I can definitely bring back the district needs. I know it's going to reflect that. It'll be pretty similar to that proposal.
How many kids were that?
The proposal,
just the proposal, for that the new building that they had drawn.
750. So it would have been 250 for each grade level. I'm sorry.
Do we need to move up to the table, do you think?
I think in the future today. Okay.
Oh, up there? Yeah, because we only have 2 mics. Let's move.
All right.
Okay. I don't have to. Thank you for the suggestion. We forgot we were going to do that anyways. Can you hear us better? Travis, are we okay up here? Is everything hooked up? Okay, good. Thank you, sir. All right. I think my question was to Jim, was that how many pre-K kids we're going to go there? So roughly. I know it's not an exact number.
So the idea would have been, at least in planning, that we would plan for 250 at each grade level. So that's why the building the one that was presented to us as a vision. Am I in the right spot? Would have been 750 total because we were, I think, in pre-K.
Pre-K
first. Yes.
We need 750 kids there.
That was what the plan was for. I don't
450 general kids and then 250 for the pre-K.
Okay, and I don't want to get off topic here, but with this another thing that's not necessarily a done deal yet, the 4th grade preschool, how many other districts are looking into already expanding their buildings for this without it being a done deal?
I work in districts throughout the whole state.
Yeah.
And many of them, I don't have a direct number, and I could probably find that.
Yeah.
Many of them are actually starting construction on their own early childhood centers.
Okay.
Just because they know this is probably coming.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun on.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that, though? Because I was going down there. She beat me down that hole. But when you say they're doing construction, Alyssa, are they doing renovations of empty rooms they have? Or are they actually adding buildings? Because I've heard two phases of that, because a lot of have declining enrollment, so they take a wing of the school and they say, hey, we'll take these 3 classrooms and make these pre-K. Does that make sense, or am I off topic?
No, that makes sense. I know some are bond related, some sinking fund related, as well as renovating new or excuse me, renovating old buildings.
Renovating old buildings.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. 2, and here's my question. When we accept pre-K kids, do they come from outside the district or inside the district?
So they would be in district if there are pre-K. We do have
Okay.
GSRP also, and I would have to get you the specifics on the eligibility for those students.
Okay. And the reason why is I'm not trying to do detective trick questions, but at the end of the day, why are we going to build this if we have declining population and then we're building a school building to bring in a couple hundred kids from another district? And I know it's free. Everybody says it's free money, from the feds, but nothing's free because we're going to have to maintain the buildings. We'd have to heat it. We'd have to cool it. Staff it, which I know that, but the staffing
Yeah,
comes from
yeah.
federal funding, right,
Well,
Jim, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to build a building for somebody that's coming from outside the Swartz Creek Community District. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I guess we got to know that numbers, and that's why where Travis disappeared to. Well, because he knows, you know what, that guy's a good numbers guy like me, and sometimes Jim, how many kids in Morse that we have currently? 450.
Yeah, around. It would be.
Okay, just
Yes.
and this, I know we're not going to talk about the choice, but how many kids from choice are there?
Oh, so
Because I know when I ask him a number, he kind of has it down.
yeah, I would have to research it. I don't want to.
Okay,
I would say 25%, but I would have to.
that's a rough guess. You don't know. The reason why I ask that is because that determines the size if we have to build a school.
Yeah.
So if we have an architect say we need a school for 750, and we're not taking pre-K from another district, I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't, but that's something. This is a vision down the road that we have to think about. We can't just say we're going to take pre-K, and we can't say that we're going to do school of choice for the next 10 years, right?
Right.
That's kind of done on an annual basis based on the board.
Right.
So I think those considerations have to be done when we take into consideration of building a new building.
Jim, how do you factor in 4-year-olds or 3-year-olds right now who are going to a daycare, for example, that would then their parents might choose to put them in the free 4-year-old program? How do we identify those kids right now?
Yeah, that's a challenge. Kindergarten, pre-K is always an unknown. Even kindergarten, we can get some numbers in that are estimates, but pre-K would be even more challenging. And the reason Chuck is asking Travis works in our enrollment. He works with our enrollment.
Yeah.
So he definitely has those numbers down.
Yeah, I didn't expect. That's why I was depending on him because he can pull them up on the computer.
Yeah.
Lickety split. Well, how about we take the numbers from last year and have those presented to us in a breakdown? And what Carrie wants, Alyssa, is that okay? Kind of like where we're at for how many kids we got coming out of district. What's our GSRP there? Which I thought we were sending them to. Weren't they going to games?
Yes.
No, some of them are.
Some were. We had 3, and because there are so few, we sent them to little dragons.
Little dragons.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no GSRP is in gains currently.
Okay.
Let's take one step further, Chuck.
Yeah.
Let's do a 3 or 5 year average and take
That's fine.
birth rates versus what we have show up here. Because 1 year is you could have, if you go back to, you two will remember it because Jim Blow was the one that said it was either 99 or 2000 birth rates were off the chart. That was a huge class compared to the ones on each side of it. So let's do a 3 to 5 year average and then compare that to the birth rates of the county versus I'm sure if you talk to Genesee County, they can probably break it down
Yes.
by community here, whether Gaines, Clayton.
But at least a 3 or 5 year may mess us up because of COVID. Because I'm just saying that, but I'm with you on that. I think 3 years is good. 5 years, if we go back, we're going to have a whole year of COVID in there, and I don't think that'll be accurate or true numbers. That's all I'm saying to ping pong back to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and if anything, 2021 should probably be a higher birth rate because everybody was at home.
Yeah, interesting. This year, everyone's
all
predicting
kidding
a
aside.
drop. Yeah, this is supposed to be a drop year
It is.
currently. Yeah, interestingly, but so what?
So the parameter is we have to determine how big of a school we really need if we're going to have pre-K there, which I'm not against for our community. I want it. And if we're going to allow, if we're if we have a declining population, why are we building a bigger building than not having something that is easier to maintain and keep, unless we're just gonna say, because we're gonna fill it up, because we're gonna open up for school of choice for the whole county.
What grades do you want? Do you want the entire district, or are we just looking at pre-K through
I
2?
think because we're just talking about this building currently, so we don't muddy up the waters with everything else, of course, what the board wants, is that I think we should just talk about the elementary right now and leave leave the middle school. We can ask that discussion, but we don't need it here for this subcommittee.
I kind of would like to see, the pre-K through 5.
Yeah,
Like, oh yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
the entire elementary.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
case,
'cause we have-
in case we go back.
We have 5 elementaries currently,
Yeah,
and there has been some discussion on the board about potentially we're going to look at grades and go back K-5, but that wouldn't be for a year or so, right, Jim?
Yes.
Right.
Uh,
So I know we've had a lot of conversations about the academic achievement and focusing on that. But Jim, can you just take a couple minutes and talk about the value of pre-K in a student's future success?
Absolutely. So the research for pre-K is just overwhelming. Those students that get that routine and structure and they're engaging in academics are more likely to be successful readers at 3rd grade. So an investment here would actually be really good for us. Another piece also, Chuck, that I said yes to.
I'm good with pre-K. Yeah, I mean, what Carrie said, our grades are not spot on, so we need to improve our children in our district, and if pre-K is going to help them, I'm going to support that 100%, hire extra people if we need to. We need to do that.
I said yes to you about a question that you mentioned. I want to make sure that I answered you appropriately. The question that you asked me before that was it about reconfiguration?
Well, yeah, the reconfiguration, because there was some discussion at the last meeting that maybe, I'm not saying we're going to, but there'd be the potential of reconfiguring once we see grade point averages. And you weren't part of that, but the former administration said that if I'm getting in the yeah, but they said the grades would be better. The grades aren't really improved a lot. And that was breaking up to K-5.
Yeah.
And it is easy, and statistically, it's probably easier running K-5, but maybe not. They said that they pool the resources, but that's on an education level.
Right.
We're talking about a building level now and building buildings and what the need is overall for our population of Swartz Creek. I don't want to be concerned with population outside of Swartz Creek. I'm concerned about our.
depending on where the new building, if we need one, might end up, do we want to bus those kids? Like right now, Moorish and Elms are fairly close, not ideally close, but fairly close. And if this new Moorish gets built, even further than that, do we want to bus?
Okay, so let's get back on task here. So architects.
Chuck, one little quick thing here. These are live births in Genesee County, 2019, 46, and I'm rounding up or down.
Yep.
I'll just give you the number. 2019, 4583, 2020, 4274, 21, 4420, 22, 4216, 2023, 3983. So if you take the last 5 years, they've dropped about 600.
Yeah, so that's 10. That's 450 times 10. That's 450.
And that's all the county. So
it's actually 12%. It's a 12% decline, roughly, just in my head, 10 to 12%, right? 4,500, 10% is 450, but we're down to 3,900, 3,800. Yeah, it's 10, 12%. Well, them are numbers we need to know, because why would you build a school that maybe holds 800, 900, 1,000 people, 1,000 kids? I'm sorry, and if we have, unless we divert kids from another school there or something happens, I don't know.
I know, admittedly, in conversations when they were asking the wish list of the school that Rod shared with them, I mean, that school was way bigger than what we would currently need, at least the proposal that they submitted to us.
Great question. Okay, so currently, Moorish Elementary has how many square feet? 44,000 or 42,000? Does anybody know that? Where's Travis? He doesn't know, because he pulls them out. Yeah, he knows the numbers. Yeah. Or Bill Loader would. That's why I kind of wanted Bill here when I asked, is Bill Loader coming?
I can bring him.
No, that's okay. So we'll just say 44,000.
Do you want Bill at these meetings, or just this one, new construction? I guess we should set that.
Yeah,
priority.
I think so. Is that okay, Carrie? Lisa?
Just new construction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be good. That way, if I have a question about a building, hopefully he can spit the number out.
All right.
I know we have 600,000 square foot of buildings, but I don't know how it's broke down. But Morris is the same as Elms, right?
Yes.
Elms is the same as Deke, right?
Yes.
Syrene's a little off.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah, smaller. So those buildings are 45,000 square feet apiece. Okay. Did the new building that they had drawn up for us, did that have a cafeteria in it with an actual dining room?
Yeah, from memory, it did.
So that would be part of your 20,000 foot.
Addition. Yeah, because my pet peeve with the elementaries is that they all eat in the,
Gym.
Jim.
and I don't like that. I know that's the way it was when I was a kid. That's the way a lot of schools still do it, but I want a set with a set dining room. I mean, we haven't progressed that much since I'm 64 years old, be 65. We haven't progressed that much where we don't even have cafeterias for the kids in elementary schools. That's ridiculous. They roll out tables, set them on the tables, roll the tables back up, clean the floors, they're playing gym, sweaty, all that. So we definitely need that in new construction. So, but let's get back to architects. So can you get us 3 architects and they can give us a bid on what it would be to be proposed?
Yes, so here's the challenge
Yeah.
that I see. Are we wanting to get architects to come in for the purpose of planning because you haven't made a decision that you're going to do a new construction? So my reason for French is they're already on our team and they could be used as a resource for these meetings alone to ask questions of. Since you're not making the decision.
So they're not going to be hired as an architectural firm where the big thing comes if we have to build. They're just going to be an advisor currently.
You could
pay them their hourly rate or whatever it is.
Yes, that exactly. They'd be great for advisors.
I'm okay with that. It's up to
I'd
them.
have to see if they're interested in doing that at an hourly rate, but
At the next, at whenever the
Well, we're
next
not going to
meeting-
use them a lot, Jim. We got to figure out. They have to give us a parameter on.
yes.
Ooh, the building you're looking at with the features you're looking at is going to be, $55 million. Somebody mentioned out there. So 55, if it does come, well, then we'll go out to 3 architectural firms and then bid it out. That's the right way to do things.
That would
Is that okay with everybody? I don't have a problem with keeping French on as a.
resource.
why don't we look at what has already been drafted up?
Yeah.
And pull stuff out or put stuff in.
Yeah.
And then maybe talk to them.
Well, because my only issue with that is,
They're the
like,
ones that-
Alyssa, didn't you say that that's like a template building? It's like one of the first of its kind, and it's like,
It's like a design build or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a,
So it's like a modular home. Here it is. You can move the bedroom over here. You can move the bathroom over there. I mean, I did a little research on it, and Alyssa was right there. I mean, it's cheaper for them to build stuff that way when it's all kind of prefab, but I don't want to be prefabbed. If we have to build a new school, I want it built for our community with our logos and our heart
Go
to it.
go the other route. Take the current building. What would you do different with it?
Marsh,
Any of them.
I tried the other day. I walked from the
yeah,
side.
I'm just saying, just like, that's why I wouldn't want to use it as a template.
I don't
know,
want to.
like, because I don't want
You know what I do to every
I mean,
school? I put a cafeteria in right now. That's the first thing I would do. That should have been done in our bond money.
I agree with
I
that.
haven't seen the new one, but I mean, I'm sure what can it have in it? A gym, a cafeteria,
Yeah.
classrooms,
yeah.
hallways, bathrooms.
Yep.
I mean, you're not
3 wings.
reinventing the wheel. It's a school.
Yeah.
And the other question would be, is it cheaper? Is it cheaper to build up or out? When you're looking at this, you put a second story on.
Yeah.
That's another question. Whether it's cheaper to heat, cheaper to build.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I saw in the design that they presented was the ability to add a wing if we did have expansion or needed to, move programs around. So just an observation.
Well, that was
It
based on
was
the
like
cheap materials, right? Wasn't that just made
Yeah, I
out
don't
of
know if
cheap
the building is all
materials?
block or brick.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far into it.
I'd rather a permanent structure we're not, yeah.
And they didn't have tornado shelters or.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm not.
I don't
No.
think I saw one.
This is why I would recommend having Suzanne Carlson because she can answer these questions and she's.
I'm okay with that. I mean, if the committee's agreement, we can at least do that.
But you're saying we don't, like, the architect isn't necessary yet? Or,
Well,
no, I'm talking, Ken?
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, we have structures, and if you're building a new school, you're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
I mean, they're all the same.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of schools, while some of ours do have tornado shelter, most schools don't. Most schools go out in the hallway and put a book over their head. I mean, it's
I know, no, I'm not disagreeing, I'm just shaking my head, I don't think that's right, but okay.
well,
Yeah. But,
yeah, all I know is
but what you're
got
saying,
caught in the basement at Deke, where that I mean, you gave me a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
The
Get
basement.
caught in the basement at Deke in the tornado shelter.
yeah, those are-
I don't know that,
Okay,
but
yeah,
yeah, they do.
I mean, I don't know. I don't.
well, let's get back on track. Do we want French to come in and at least answer some questions once in a blue moon? I mean, we're probably not looking at a lot of money. We're not experts here. I think that's a good suggestion. And then if we get farther into, we're gonna actually do something with a building, then we can put it out to bid and maybe even use the same plans, whatever. I don't know. Let's at least start somewhere. We gotta have a starting point for the committee. Let's have the architect come and build over. Is that okay with everybody?
So as part of that, Chuck, do you want them to bring the design they had proposed?
Yeah, I think
to-
I agree with
Yeah.
Ken too at some point, to at least bring it in, because that way I could ask questions about what kind of materials we're using, or
Well-
blocks, or steel, or brick, or steel roofs, or something.
But would you rather them do that or like bring in a template of a school that we already have? You know, and to build,
Well, we can bring that.
but I'm not saying like let's build another 1940-year-old building, but like, yeah, and just kind of revamp that as you go. Add a cafeteria to that because you know what all those are, right? Already.
We can bring in the blueprints in from Marsh or Elms or Deke, like you said, they're all basically the same.
Yeah.
And bring in the new design they have, and still have French here, just because we're not experts here. We have to
Right.
bounce questions off them.
Yeah.
So let us ask them. You're talking a few $100 probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
For,
and I'll make it clear that this does not mean if they pursue that you're going to
Right.
go with them.
Yeah, I would, if it ever came that we have the bids,
It'll be
the bid
bid out.
process.
Yes.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, I'd like to ask them about, you know,
We're
building up-
contemplating.
building up versus building out. I mean, if you build 2 stories, think how much less roof repair we have. And it's not like the buildings don't always get roof repairs. You know, and so I mean, there's some pros and well, I don't know what the cons are to it besides little Billy and Susie's got to climb stairs.
Elevators, some fires, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think 4th and 5th graders need elevators.
No, they do underneath the American Disabilities Act. You need them.
Oh, I understand your disability. I'm talking about
But if we did build a
The average
two-story,
child.
it's not. Yeah, you're going to have elevators on each
Right.
side. You're going to have walk, and I'm not saying it's still probably be cheaper because it's always cheaper to build up than it is out.
and you can
normally.
leave the kids with disabilities on the 1st floor.
Yeah,
So I mean, it
depends.
an elevator is not a bad idea, but what I'm getting at is down the road, you're repairing a whole lot whatever your square footage is, you're repairing that in roof.
That's why I think we need French here to answer those questions,
Right.
because me and you and all of us are going to be arguing about this, and I think we should have an expert here to advise on the construction part.
Should we invite the construction firm, Lurvy, here or no?
I don't
No.
know. Just because we're not going to hire, or we don't know if we're going to hire them.
No, I was just
Like,
But we don't know if we're going to hire French
yeah,
either.
right.
like expert or something. Or
Oh,
you want someone from
yeah,
Clark or Barton Mallow, like someone like that.
That's
Mhm.
actually who's going to build.
Yeah. Or someone that specializes
What
in.
is Frank-
Well, I think if we just get it drawn up, like, you know what I mean? If we just get it drawn up and then we can hire
No,
a construction
it
company.
always
and-
goes through the bid process.
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
architect's enough because they're going to have.
Yeah.
I just think, Alyssa, just hear me out.
Yeah.
Most architects have a general knowledge of what it costs for building costs, up, down, left, right, forward. They may not be exact, but they'll be able to answer some of our concerns, I think, without getting
Yeah.
a construction firm in right away
Yeah, I just want
or somebody advice. But that's a great idea. But I think most architects, especially if they build schools, are going to know some costs about, hey, if you build 1,000 square foot this way, 1,000 square foot up, elevator, this or that costs you money.
So my next question would be
Okay.
for them, when do you want to have this next meeting? And obviously, I don't think it's as pressing as
No, it's
we
a
could
sell.
go monthly almost with these.
Yeah. Yeah, because if we don't get to the selling point, we don't have to talk about construction.
Right.
We're just doing this as a a catch in case something happens to us because we weren't prepared. So you guys tell us.
You want to
Meeting
hold off?
dates.
Like,
I would say keep in mind that if we initiate a superintendent search, that will consume some of our time as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to go 60 days then? For the construction part.
'Cause this one's not as pressing.
It's not as pressing as the other things. We're going to give the other guy it.
We scheduled a proposal meeting at the first meeting part.
I think it's a good.
Is that okay?
I think it's great.
And then at our next construction meeting, if it does come, right, if it does come, we would have a French architectural firm come in if they're willing to do it on a retainer.
Yep.
And what else did I miss? There was something else we said. Oh, Bill here,
Yes.
schematics of our building, schematics of the other building.
District needs.
District
numbers,
needs, yep.
enrollment.
Oh, and you're going to have the numbers for kids. That's the
Yes.
big thing.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter what we construct, we know how many numbers we have.
Yep.
If we even need anything. Bigger, smaller, change, nothing.
When is our?
or
sorry, I
maybe
think
we
our-
don't.
We might not
Yeah,
even need
I
it.
know.
I know,
Right,
that's why
I'm
we're gonna
just
put this one.
kidding.
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna put
just-
this one down
yeah.
60 days down the road.
I'm just,
Because
Yeah.
we gotta see what the other fellow says, and then
Yeah.
we might be just like, okay, we're not doing anything. Yeah, we're done, bam. Wash your hands of it all.
yeah.
Yeah. So if we want to do.
I mean, this is like the other one. It's given.
This
that
is
we're-
just a backup. We should be prepared in
Yeah.
case something happens, so we don't look like we just did a couple months ago and nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Right.
Yes, so this is us being well prepared in case something happens.
Okay.
That's all this is.
October 22nd is our regular board meeting. Would you like to do a special board meeting on October 29th, the week after?
I won't be able to be in attendance traveling for work that day.
October 29th, you wanna do it the day, or do you wanna do it the day of? And do it an hour ahead of time?
You're talking about the same board meeting?
Yeah.
That's up to you guys.
Can we do it on the same, the 22nd, which is our normal board meeting, and come in at 5 PM? Is that good, Carrie? Alyssa, you cool with that?
Yeah, I should be able to. Yep.
You good with this?
10:22.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it might not even
I know.
happen. Might not
Yeah.
even happen.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
like, the, yeah, I had to pull some strings. at the
October
here.
22nd at 5 o'clock with the regularly scheduled board meeting at 6 o'clock.
And of course, those are all open to the public, so you guys will be here with our questions and, yeah. Well, how about some Halloween candy? We're getting close to. We could make it the 30th, but that's not.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah. I know.
All right.
Dark. Okay, that's settled.
Yep.
Is that it for our construction? Is there anything else? What else do you want brought, Ken? Travis, don't hide out there. We were calling you for numbers a minute ago. You're out there trying to lurk in the shadows. Please don't do that. He's a good numbers guy. I like numbers guys. So anyways, back to seriousness. French blueprints of new and old buildings. What else? We've kind of eliminate the construction guide till we kind of figure out what the architect says.
Yep.
What else was this? Other suggestions?
I have ad bill, district needs.
Bill, the numbers for all of our. I would like populate. I'm going to ask you for that way ahead of time, probably next week. I'm going to ask for the population, and you can go off last year's numbers. I don't care. Of course, you want a 3-year average or 5-year average, Ken. But I would like to know the numbers of all of our elementary schools exactly, which I know it's online somewhere.
I can get
But
that.
okay, yeah. And how many GSRP we have in those buildings, pre-K, and another question would be school of choice students per building. I don't need it per grade, just per building where we're at. It doesn't have to be just whatever you have your average for last year. That's probably on Michigan school data, but it takes me a long time to.
We got Munetrics, so it's pretty easy to get this stuff now.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Does anybody else want any other numbers? What other numbers do we need if we were to construct a new school? Besides the money?
I think, so if we look at the numbers within our district right now, we're looking at 25% of the enrollment is in ours. Are we looking at this? What are we looking at for the community? Do we want community numbers or do we want current numbers? Because if we stay with current numbers and more kids would leave the district or our birth rates lower here in this area, then are we going to pull more school of choice kids in to maintain the number?
Well, we don't know that till we figure out what the numbers are, Ken. I think we should have a good number for what our school choice is currently, what our enrollment is, maybe how many children have left the district. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
So this is just all 1 year, like where we are now with
Yeah.
our population, our buildings, GSO.
Yeah, I mean, we could go back 5, but let's just see where we're at for this current year. And then you can bounce ideas off as the committee. Well, do we need a 60,000 square foot building? Do we need a 40,000 square foot building? Because you got to have those numbers to determine the square footage.
But we're talking two languages. We're talking one language if we're putting pre-K and fourth graders and GSRP in it. And then we're talking another language with school of choice. And then we're talking another language.
Well, I think they're going to have all those numbers.
Right, but the numbers are meaningless. What are you going to do with that?
So
Hypothetically, if you bailed out a school of choice,
Yeah.
well, then your numbers that you have right now are meaningless.
Right.
And then 5 years later, you have a different school board sitting here, and they bring school of choice back, and your building's too small. There's got to be a look into the future of what are we building this for? Are we building it for Swartz Creek Community Schools, or are we building it for
Every day.
whatever we decide to do and whatever clientele from other areas we bring in? And we don't know how many of our kids are going to leave
Right.
because that number has continuously jumped. I mean, I think when I left the board, we were at 400. Now we're at 700.
750, right. Well,
So-
yeah, I won't quote that number.
Yes.
Somewhere right in.
Well, I mean, but it's a ballpark figure. It's continuously went up.
Yeah.
So this is like trying to hit a moving target. And so I guess we need to at least first figure out what is the target.
I would say Swartz Creek Community Schools, right?
Right.
Like
that
that-
would be me. But
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
one person,
Well, I would agree with you then on that.
So I mean,
Yeah.
right now there's too many moving targets
Mm.
that if we do nothing, if we decided next year all the elementary school kids that come into school of choice, yeah, you're more than welcome to come here, but you have to drive to Gaines. Well, our number is going to drop because nobody from the east is going to drive all the way to the west. I mean, that's why Elms and Morris are chock full of children and Deke is not. You don't even want to drive that far. So, again, our behavior dictates the enrollment.
hmm
And our behavior can change every 2 years because you could have new board members. What's the Magnificent Seven going to do in 2 years?
That's a good point. I don't know.
So, I mean, I think not only do we have to figure out what we're doing there, but we also have to figure out what do we think is in the best interest of the community, and I'm not, like I'm one person, but what is the best interest of the community moving forward?
And I'd like to add to that, Chuck, and to Ken, think about it in a perfect world. What would you like your early childhood or elementary school experience to be for the students that we want to have in our community and to benefit from the building? The building is a building, but it also sets the stage for the education, the opportunities, having a cafeteria. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
I want cafeterias.
So those types of
That's
things,
just bothered me
if you say,
And I would like it to,
No, let Carrie
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
if we think about it in a perfect world,
Yeah.
and I would challenge all of us to think in a perfect world, in the sale of it, of a building, in the construction or the design of a building, what's your thought about a perfect world? So that's all I have to say on that. It's just, I think there's an opportunity here for us to
Well,
do some
to
really
accommodate the kids in
great
our district,
things.
our taxpayers and the kids in our district. That's my perfect world
then
is so
Ken wants a target. Here's a target. I'll make it real simple. Once again, like we said about the purchase agreement, you take it and take the amount of kids that we've lost, right? that's a fixed number. We have that number, right, Travis? Jim, we have that number
We can
off of
get that
metrics,
number,
yep. And we have our current kids involved, however that is, if you take away the school choice. And you build a school for that, because how do you know if the kids don't come back or they stay in the district? So that's your base number. I'm answering your question directly. So, yep. What's the community consist of? So if we have a total of 3,300 school-age children in our community, then that's what we build for.
Yeah.
That way, it's taken care of. I mean, everybody says this is a community, so we have to worry about our community.
Mhm.
And if 700 kids choose to leave, then the future boards can decide if they want to fill it up with the 700 kids that they lost or not, right? Or not have school choice. But you wanted a base number? I'm going to give you a direct answer. That's a base number, and I think that's probably the only way we can do it, right?
Yeah.
I forget school choice, forget this, forget that, forget all our stuff. How many kids potentially can come to Swartz Creek?
I like that.
That's your number.
I like that.
I don't know how many we lost, Jim. I've heard several different numbers. I look, it changes, 750, 800. So,
We can get you that.
I mean, what else? How else are you going to come up with a number? You guys tell me another metrics or formula that you can come up with a number. And
I like it.
Should we forecast though? So let's say
Yeah,
hypothetical, obviously this is all hypothetical. A semiconductor plant does come in and it brings in 10,000 jobs, let's say, whatever it may be. More than likely, I think our population is going to grow, I would
Yes.
say, here in Swartz Creek. So should we kind of, I don't want to
Look
say
into that.
look into that. Yeah.
You know what? That's a great comment, because we can formulate that out though,
Yeah.
the best we can today, and that's a vision that you have. So if we have 10,000 people, and that's 5,000 married couples, we'll say,
Yeah.
and we'll go down because a lot of people don't have children.
Hmm.
And if you take, and some people, same-sex marriages, this, that, they adopt, you got all sorts of crazy factors in there.
For sure.
But you come up with a formula, Alyssa, and I think that would be fair to say, well, we anticipate 2,000 families moving to Swartz Creek in the next 10 years. And you could probably take it, I know that's probably a lot, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
here's how we're talking here. That's I like that question. And you take the 2,000 families, and 1,000 have 2.1 kids or whatever it is. Then you figure that formula in and cut it by half, we'll say. But at least it gives you something which you're concerned about, which I actually like that, because you say, well, it gives us a potential growth of 400 children.
Yeah.
But I think our buildings are big enough, even if we did have 400 children, if you take away people outside our community. That's another hard fact. I mean, we could do numbers on. If we have 25% that go to every elementary, roughly, I'll even cut it down to 20%. That's 20 times 450 is 90. 20 times 410 at Elms, that's 90. Deke is about 380, 370, 20. That would be 30, so that'd be 70. So you'd be at 180, 250, 260. So even if we cut the kids down, Alyssa, I think that would make up for the growth if we had that in there. And I haven't researched it, but everybody I've talked to so far says if we had a chip factory come in, they're kind of fibbing to us a little bit on the jobs, because they said that's all. And I know a lot of business people, and they said, Chuck, there's really less people in the chip factory because most of it's robotics and this and that. Oh, yeah. So that really, a modern day chip factory, a large one, has between 180 and 250 employees on the heavy side. There might be 10,000 jobs for construction and all that for short term while they're here, and then they pick up and leave. But that's a great question, because I didn't think about that vision-wise if we did pick up kids. But I'm telling you right now, Genesee County as a whole is losing population bad, and the chip factory is not going to save Genesee County. We lost 100,000 jobs from GM. I grew up in the 60s here, and it was booming, and there is no way. The mall has 14 stores inside out of 138. It's not, and if you take out the box restaurants down Miller Road and Linden Road, guess what? Box restaurants, because they keep each other alive because they have such a chain. Because everybody says, why doesn't Swartz Creek have a downtown? Because Flint Township was always Swartz Creek's downtown. I've lived here my whole life. And we didn't need a big vibrant downtown because we always had Miller Road and Linden Road or Cron Road, which was packed. So Gaines, Clayton, Monday could go there. Now Monday Township is a new kind of Flint Township, but it's still not going to grow like Flint Township. So, but I do hear your concern, and I never thought about that if there is a population increase. But I think it'd be minuscule, number one. And two is just doing the numbers in my head. If I subtract all the potential kids that are currently out of district in the elementaries, I think we're still flush with the numbers.
Mhm.
If we brought the 700 back, because not all 700 are from the elementary schools. I mean, I should make that assumption, Jim, but that doesn't sound right, does it? That all said, they'd be spread out over the grades, right?
It could be, yeah.
We don't know that number. That's why we need to know that number, Ken, I think, just to help us make that determination.
Years ago, I think it was 2016, when we were talking about closing Gaines, what we found was when the kids were vacating, basically the Gaines area was 6th grade. They didn't mind going to elementary school. It was when you got to the middle schools when they started vacating the district. So I would venture to say your higher numbers are going to be in your higher residential people are probably going to be in the K5. And then I think you start seeing the other numbers probably on 6 through 12.
I think Ben told us that, Carrie, if I'm not mistaken, about 4 or 5 years ago. He said a lot of kids from Gaines leave and go to Byron or Durand.
So I would maybe challenge Jim to look at that. And there's been a lot of changes at the middle school in the last few years. The culture is very positive compared to what it was even 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And maybe
hearing
what
the
that's done in terms of retaining families. I don't have those numbers, but just looking at that, that may have been in the past. And I agree with you that was an issue, but there's been a lot of changes and a lot of focus there.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think the committee can agree that we're going to get the numbers so we can figure out what's going on. We're going to have French architect come in. We're going to have a meeting delayed to see what we're doing on the first part, the selling part. And the fourth thing I missed was
District needs.
district needs. That was it. Well, that's going to be after we get all the numbers. I think that'll tell us what we
Yeah.
need. Hey, you
Right,
need a 500-person school, you need a 200-person school, you need a 50-person school. And obviously, if it's little, we're not going to spend $40-50 million to build a school for 56.
So I'm going to take district needs off of my to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
because it sounds like you're going to develop that once we give you the numbers. I
Right.
can keep it
Yeah.
on there and tell
No,
you.
no,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah, that's
you're right.
I mean, I know what qualitatively what we'd like to have, but that's not going to help. Well, maybe.
How many employees do we have that bring kids from outside the district? Because I never want to. I want them to be able to bring their children to the district. Just
So-
out of curiosity, I wondered that. I don't know that number.
We have quite a few, but let me get you an exact number. For example, my son graduated, so he wouldn't be in that count. But we have quite a few. Let me get you that number and bring it.
Is
also.
that a fair number to ask?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I need to ask that because I want to know how many employees we have bringing kids here. Because if they want to bring their kids here, I'm all for that personally. But I need to know if that's 100 kids, 200 kids. I don't know.
It wouldn't.
It wouldn't be that high, you think? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. I didn't know. I don't know the number.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking we'd be between 20 and 25 around.
Oh,
those.
that's all? It's that low of a number?
I'm
Okay. then.
guessing. Yeah,
I
but
didn't
I'll
know.
get you the exact.
That's fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else on the committee? Ken? Good. Miss Alyssa? Carrie? Autumn? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, public comment. Please step up. And there's a speaker right there that wasn't working for us, unfortunately, so maybe it'll work for you guys. Oh, we don't, that way it can be recorded. Yeah.
Travis. Denise Smith, Swartz Creek, Flint Township. In regards to the positive things happening around the Morris School over the last couple of years, I can tell you that people are moving out, not only around the mega site, but across the street in Lindenwood Farms and along Maple Road on the Flint Township side. People are starting to put up signs and sell their houses. So if that school goes down, there may be a lot more negative impact on the enrollment at Moorish, whether it's a mile down the road or if it stays where it's at. If that school goes down, it's not going to be good. And that comment I have about building up rather than building out, that'd be perfect for middle school or high school students. But we're talking about little children, and it would be a huge liability to have kids falling downstairs. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Carrie, do you have the clock?
I do.
I haven't been taking it. Anybody else?
So just one of the things that I didn't hear is probably need to, I don't know if it's a survey or how you gather the information, but speaking with current teachers and other office staff and other people that are working in the schools to see what is it that they love about the current schools? What is it that they hate about the current schools? Obviously, Chuck wants a cafeteria, but I'm sure that if you talk to them, they'll give you a list of other things that could be improved. And so I think that that's something that you guys should probably try to gather too, before the next meeting, just for more consideration. Just because obviously, you said 2 heads is better than 1, 3, 4. Let's get all the current, employees in the schools giving us more information too, and take those considerations as part of the list.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Yep.
And I have my committee comment. I think we should add that, Jim.
Like a survey.
Just real quick between the board, what do you think, guys?
Yeah. I like that.
I would like to have some of the teachers' feedback saying what would they want. I want the cafeteria because I just think it's unsanitary the way we do it. But maybe if they want bigger rooms or bigger closets or more bathrooms, I don't know. And that's a legitimate point because we have to look at their aspect too on a new school. And I don't think that was ever done on the first go around.
Would that be done? Would you guys want data district wide or just the elementary? Since right now,
just the elementary, I think that's all it really pertains to.
So your dream, if you had a dream, what would your dream school, your dream classroom look like?
I think that's a legitimate point. They should have some input on that. Thank you. Next person, if anybody would like to talk.
Okay, Don Ludwig again. Real quick about the purchase agreement. If they do a purchase agreement, I'm going to go back in time when they first started purchasing land for the mega site. When they received the first $1.5 million, then they received $9 million. What they did is they went to the farmers and the church, and they gave them a huge deposit to hold the land, to have first rights to buy that property. And after 2 years, if they didn't meet their contract, they got to keep their deposit. And I know those deposits were very substantial, a lot of money. So what I'm saying is maybe when you guys do start doing something like this, hey, we'll take $1 million until you get a buyer. Then we'll take the other $60 million. And if you don't, we just keep the $1 million for free. That was basically what they were offering the farmers and the church. So I'll give you an example with the church. The church was in bad shape, but they needed some work. So they gave the pastor, I'm not going to disclose the dollar amount, but they gave them enough to keep the church afloat, put in a new roof, new furnace, carpet, fix some water leaks and all that stuff. And then if in 2 years, if the mega site didn't come to where they needed to be at this key monument, they got to keep the money as like a buffer. I hope I'm making sense with this. It would be like a deposit until they were ready to do that. So that might be another option because I know, 750 acres of that got tied up that way. And I know some of the people made comments that their relatives wouldn't have to work for 5 generations of families wouldn't have to work just from the deposit they received. And if it didn't happen, they got to keep the money. So that might be something to think about. And if it doesn't make sense, I can talk to you on one-on-one more and tell you dollar amounts or whatever. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Leah Davis. My son was saying that he went to an estate sale yesterday and he said it was by the Beacon and Bridge, which is south of Hill Road. And he was talking to the woman selling her property, and they were saying they just didn't want to be here because of the mega site. So it's affecting not just the immediate AMOD area, but it's associated around Mundy Township, and probably I don't know how far into Swartz Creek, people don't want to be around a semiconductor plant. But and another thing you want to think about is parents might not want their children to go to a school if you do end up deciding to build near Berlin and Farrell, because that's a whole nother taboo toxicity. So you'd have a school between one toxic area and another, the semiconductor plant. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, you also have the subdivision that's still coming into Gaines, Moorish and Hill, because they're still talking about that. And that will bring families in. Also, with building up, you have to have elevators. You can't keep a special needs child confined on the first floor. ADA wouldn't allow that. My son was in a wheelchair at Michigan School for the Deaf for 16 years. So yeah, you'd have to have elevators all the way up. As for anything coming into the mega site, you have, if it's not a chip, which I still think it's going to be a chip because of the way that the overlay is set up, you have aerospace, which brings in DOD. I'm not thrilled with that. Auto and pharmaceuticals. Either way, you've got chemicals coming in that particular area. Thank you.
So that comment is, and maybe I misspoke myself, Alyssa, maybe there's going to be more jobs. Are they plan on putting potentially five different buildings in there
But
besides?
that's within 20 years, though.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, and like what Leah said, more people are, it's not
Leaving.
just affecting that square mile. It's, yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, my name's Donna McManus. I live on Morris Road, down by the dumb roundabout that they wanted in so bad. Now you want to put Morris School over there on Morris and Hill. You cannot put that on Morris and Hill. Number one, there's a subdivision that is right there. Real nice one. They aren't cheap homes or no means. Now he wants to take and move all those houses down there and move them over there. Well, what a cheap way to go out. He's going to be cutting those woods and be right back with their property. And what's going to happen with our school taxes? You want to build all these big buildings, and our school taxes are so high now a senior can't even afford to live in Swartz Creek. We pay top dollar. We don't have any say about anything. They do not need to build another school. We're going to lose all those kids there. If they don't want to leave those kids there in that building, which they should be doing, even though they're going to build, they're not going to build anything right away. So it just doesn't add up. You think about the people out there right now. We can't even walk across the street. We have no police at all in Gaines Township. Okay? So we have to take our chance. We have mailboxes on the outside the street. We have to walk across in between and run to miss the cars. They come 100 miles an hour. What are we going to have when they have a school there? All the extra traffic. We won't even be able to drive on our driveway. You people don't know what it is. You don't know what the average man is living on. You all have jobs. The seniors don't work anymore. We get a measly little Social Security check. We can't afford to have a school at Morris and Hill Road. I don't know what the reason is for you wanting it there. That's a too small of an area. We came down the Elms Road yesterday. Traffic was lined for a mile down the side of the road. We couldn't even go down coming into town. For 15 minutes, we had to sit there in the line because cars couldn't go on through. Cars waiting to turn every which way. Now that's on Elms Road right now. What are they going to have when they put that down there? There are people down there. You're going to lose kids of anything because these families that are moving and had their houses turned out are the ones that had the kids that go to Morris School. So they're not going to have those kids. They're not going to move back into Morris, into Swartz Creek District. They're taking and they're buying. We know a party right now that just sold theirs to them. They went clear out to Clio to get out of Swartz Creek. They wasn't going to be around no mega site. And it's true. We do not need a mega site out there. But that's beside the point. We need to stand up on your own 2 feet. But I think you guys have already made up your minds. You want that new school and you want to sell. So, and you don't want to hear me. I don't believe you.
No, Donna, you're welcome to talk. That your opinion's valuable here as everybody else's is. I don't think anybody's made their mind up to sell the school. That's why we punted the ball and kind of like sat back.
Well, still, why do you just insist only on Morrison Hill? Why? There's a lot of other property around.
There's another committee coming up that's going to talk about that property. Donna, there's another committee coming up right after this one. So I think if you just stand by for a few minutes.
Oh, I'll stay by.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
She lives on Morris Road right there. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? We'll move on to the next committee if there's none. But we'll have board comments if there's any.
No.
Miss Carrie?
No, thank you.
Miss Alyssa? Mr. Ken? Miss Autumn?
I'm good.
Okay. We'll close the meeting at 4:15 p.m. Thank you. 1 or 2 minute recess, and we'll start on the property that we just talked about. There's also a property subcommittee, but that will be, I'm sure, very short, 15 or 20 minutes or less. Thank you. It's 4:21 p.m. This is the third part of a three-part subcommittee. It's called a Property Search Committee. Property Search Committee. This was established by the Board of Trustees last week, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, to keep everything separate. And it's not to go out and buy property. It's if we are forced to sell the school, not forced to sell, but if everything falls into place, this would be the third piece of the puzzle. Nobody's saying we're buying property. This is just a search in case we have to go out, so we're not sitting down and we're behind the eight ball. That was the whole concern, and the board's nice enough to split into three subcommittees. So, Property Search Committee. Who would like to be the chair of this one? Anybody? You want me to do it? I don't care.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
All right. Yeah, sure. There's 3 men and 3 women, so I don't know if that's a derogatory comment, Mr. Engel, or not. So, because I'm the shortest, oldest, and bald, so I don't really take that. All right, we'll start the meeting. So, the purpose of the meeting is to because the purchase agreement that Mr. Tyler. I'm just going to leave it Mr. Tyler because I always butcher his name. I'm sorry. If he's listening, I'm sorry. Mr. Tyler proposed the agreement, and it also had attached in that agreement where we could buy property, or he was going to buy property and give it to us, and that he had a builder to build property there. So I'll open it up what the parameters are to look for property potentially if we have to move a school or even build a school. We don't even know if we got to build one yet. So, but we'll be ready if it does occur. And on the first agenda item is independent commercial realtor ?
Yeah. Just as an idea for this committee, I put that on there, something to consider where we could have somebody researching properties once we give them the parameters, and then they can report back to this committee on what they found. Again, I don't imagine that this is going to be as meaty as the other 2 committees, and one that may only need every 3 months or so to come together. So it works nicely. But
well, and we can always change those dates. If he said he gave us $1 billion for our property, I'm sure nobody would be. Yeah, we'd have to be buying property. We'd probably buy property, put all schools in one location, and be done with it. Right. But yeah, so I don't know. You guys go ahead and discuss it out. Independent commercial realtor. Does anybody have anybody in mind? They probably should not be associated, obviously, once removed from us. So if maybe they were 2 or 3 times removed, it'd be different. But it'd have to be somebody removed from anybody on the board. So, and too bad Andre isn't here because she'd probably have a lot of great ideas. But she's not. So
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
I don't
I'm
have
not
one. I know
Melissa
one,
shaking her
but
head. Ken shaking her head. Carrie, do you have any idea of anybody?
No, I think we put, as we're progressing,
Yes.
we put the feelers out there to see what's available. And there may be pieces of land. I know the comment was made about the land that was proposed, which we're not locked into. I'm sorry, Mrs. McManus, I think you brought that up. But I think we look at what's available out there, and with the assistance of somebody who has an expertise in that area, I think we can move that along a little faster. But I don't know anybody that is an independent realtor.
Commercial real estate.
Commercial. Mm-hmm.
The only thing I would ask is if we can find someone to get out of Genesee County, because this whole thing is surrounded around Genesee County and Flint Alliance, and so let's distance ourselves from Genesee County.
That's a great suggestion, Ken. I have no problem with that. And once again, we're kind of asking to be, you said you want a target. This is a moving target because we don't have a building with how many acres we need. You know, I guess we have some general parameters. We need water, we need sewer, we need I'm just saying if it all went through. So it's going to be, I guess we'll have to, if we choose somebody outside the county, which I think is a great idea, they're going to have a kind of a shotgun pattern because it's like, potentially we may need some property, potentially has to have water and sewer, potentially has to have roads, gutters, curbs, or something that can the infrastructure be built to it. And as Donna said, handle the traffic, because although we've lost 100,000 jobs in Genesee County, I think 100,000 people aren't working because everybody's always driving around at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And if nobody's going to work, No, I'm serious. I go somewhere and I'm like, where's everybody at? The roads are full, and we got to have the proper flow and safety for the children if it ever came true. So, who wants it? Or should we just report back at maybe a general meeting and come up with a couple names and interview people, or what?
Yeah.
What would be a suggestion?
I think that's a great idea.
Propose a couple names outside the communities, Ken said. Bring them into some type of meeting at some point in public.
Yeah.
Well, I think you hit the big things. Roads, water, sewer are a huge issue. And again, probably more reality than hypothetically, you're going to have to stay to the southeast quadrant of the district.
It's going to be tough for them.
Well, right. But I mean, I would just say that quadrant. I mean, and then Grand Blanc, I think, just built 2 schools next door to each other. So
they did their
I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea.
No, I like that. You know what they did, and I talked to Ben about that. They did their K through 2 in one building. I'm kind of that, and then they did their 3-5 in the building, and they hook them together, and they have a common area, cafeterias, this and that, and all the kids come to the same area, which keeps my thing of keeping your K through 5 brothers and sisters together. But that is an ideal splitting of schools because they're together, but they're not together. You know what I mean? During the classroom. But Grand Blanc has 3 times the money that we have. But we're getting off into the weeds again. So we're going to look at some realtors. Everybody can submit a name or submit something and then give it to Jim and then have a small subcommittee meeting to be determined at a later date. I don't think we even need to set a date as long as we give the proper notice to the public and follow the Opens Meeting Acts. And then have them come in and, I guess we'll interview 2 or 3 realtors if they even want the job, and we'll pick one.
Does it have to be a commercial?
Yes. Well, preferably. If we can, some of the commercial places say, hey, I'm not dealing with your guys' stuff. Have a nice day. I don't know. I don't know.
So what part of this, or when do we consider the size that's needed for a build? I think currently the proposal was including 33 acres.
That's correct.
But I don't know whether that's
Needed
the
or
right
too
number.
much or-
But just at what point do we look for size? Because if somebody comes to us or somebody's come to us.
After the new construction determines what kind of playground and parking and the size of the new building, I would say.
So it's like that fits into the construction because we have size there.
We could do that right after construction every time
Okay.
because you're right, Carrie. That's going to be tied in together
Right.
at some point. If we have if they say, hey, you only need a 34,000 square foot building, you're going to have this size playground. I'm just throwing numbers out there. They're not, and you're going to have, you got to have 200 parking spots and 27 handicap and blah, 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 blah. Well, then that determines our property. But at the end of the day, we already know this. We all live in the community, and I've lived here my whole life, basically. There's not a lot of property available like that. But who knows? That's what a real estate agent's going to do. They're going to dig deep and maybe find something.
So I'm wondering, should we postpone this committee until we have more information on the new construction?
Yes.
Because properties are going to come and go in that time.
But I'm not against buying property anyways because property is a good investment. So maybe we should have them looking. If we found 10, 12 acres somewhere that we could turn into soccer, football fields, baseball fields, practice fields, of course. That in the future, if we could do it financially for the children, we could build more fields. If you recall, we bought 10 acres right next door to Elms Elementary. I pushed that a little bit to the district because the land was cheap and it was right next to our district, or right next to a school. It's like, oh, we could use it for baseball fields, football fields, practice, different fields. If nothing else, we had a buffer to our school, and the land was cheap, but I don't know if we're going to find that again. How many acres is that? 9.5, 10 acres.
Yeah, it's 10, close to 11.
Yeah, we should have bought the property next door. We were really screwed up because there was another 20 acres next door that sold for just a little bit more, and we would own that whole place, and that property keeps doing what? Yeah, the old golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem with that, the problem would be is that you got two schools across the street from each other, so it would not serve it would not serve our South End kids, I think, well to do that.
Well, I think property size wise, I think you could say 20 acres or less.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
No, Morse is on what, Gary? 9.5 acres? 10?
Yeah.
10 acres. So 10 acres is a good, they might be able to find somebody 10 acres that has some of the conditions, and if it's cheap enough, we buy it now. Rather we.
And elementary schools don't require a lot of parking. I mean,
But I think we have to factor in, are there ball fields on location or those types of things as well, so you don't have to go back and retrofit.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
We have 10 acres at Moorish. I don't think it's all being utilized, if I'm not mistaken. I've driven the property several times. Most of it is probably 7 or 8 acres. I think there's room for a practice baseball field there. But I'm with you, Carrie, at least 10, 15 acres. Or we could buy 15, who cares? It's good, like you said, expansion. We've got the property. So let's figure out, the first thing we're going to do is figure out a real estate person. We're going to figure out, get them in here, do an interview and choose one, right? I would prefer, and there is some out there, quite a few, a commercial real estate agent that has maybe an attorney background to make sure, because there are attorneys out there that specialize in commercial real estate. That way we don't get ourselves, you know what I mean, if it's tied to anything, we don't get ourselves, not saying that's a necessity, but preferably. Preferably. How's that sound? Is that okay? All right. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this stuff's starting to add up. We're talking about, you know what I mean? So, like, let's keep a track record of how much we're spending.
We're not
on
going to
this,
spend anything. We're
the
going
what ifs.
real estate agents get paid
Yeah.
when they buy something.
Well, I'm saying,
And that's a
but
long way down the road if we even make the decision.
wiggle it into our proposal.
Oh, I got it.
Like,
I would recommend that whoever you go with for the representative, that you go with them for the purchase. It would be like if they're the ones bringing in the properties and reporting on it, that would be the person we go.
And that can be done in closed session, though.
Yeah.
That can be done in closed session because, Jim Smith knows that we're looking for 15 acres and knows that this guy's the one. Yeah, I don't know if we should be doing that in public. Because then they're gonna jack the price up on us if we ever did buy something.
yeah, we don't need any properties.
No, we don't. I'm not saying we do need.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, what do you think about that, Carrie? You've been on the board the longest. What do you think?
I think that's fine. We also have to give ourselves leeway for an attorney review of whatever we get.
Well, yeah, it'll all go through, and of course, yeah, just because we have a commercial real estate attorney, maybe it's still everything has to go through our corporate attorney to make sure we don't get hooked. So, all right. So the parameters on that are: we'll look for some real estate agents.
Am I looking for this person?
I think anybody you can look for them, but if somebody gives you a suggestion, why do it by yourself?
Right. This would be the most challenging one for me, but yes.
Well, the board here, you got 7 bodies that can help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
we
we
want
can
to let you down.
we can put the information into you. You can make that, come up with 2 or 3 that you think, oh, these people are really good, and we can talk about it and make a decision here at the board.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
And we might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe something else pops up in the meantime. So great.
Hey, you never know, right? If not, then we'll look at, unless Tyler's tying everything to the sale of that property, then that might kill the whole deal. I don't know. All right, take a deep breath because that's way too short. Well, why don't we listen to the public and then we can come back to our board comments. Anybody from the public like to make a comment?
I'll make a comment.
Please state your name. Come to the podium, please. Thank you. I mean, we know it's Jennifer, but
I just want to make a comment. So you talked about looking for land and purchases. I think you need to look at where there's actual facilities in the ground for your water, for your sewer, because I'm going to be honest with you, there's not very much out there in this portion of Genesee County that's available, and that's really going to limit your availability to where you're going to locate that property at.
thank you. Yeah, there's nothing. No. Yep, Sue, if you. Well, maybe you guys will get a retainer fee if you give it to our commercial attorney.
I just want to say something I said in one of the previous meetings. I want to remind Mr. Kitchen, I think you'll be the one speaking with an attorney.
Yes.
I want you to remember to ask them their opinion. I think we should go to a couple of attorneys, 2 or 3, and get their legal guidance. But I think it would be important to find out if the school stays, whether or not we have some leverage, like we have leverage on whether or not this even goes in. Right. So if we may have a big influence on really whether or not that goes in, more than we even we don't really discuss that, but I think we do. And if we join again, I'll say I hate to sound repetitive, but I feel like I always am. If we join hands together and with the community, because I'll refer back to that ridiculous survey that did not represent the community whatsoever. The questions were very poor on that survey. And I'll say that you'll have the majority of the community and yourselves representing the opposition to all of this. So I just want to know what the attorney would say as far as our ability to, if we stayed there, our ability to hold this all off altogether. So that's all, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise Smith again. Back up on what she said. You may also want to know what your legal parameters are if you do say what you can request to protect your school if they do decide to build over on the southwest corner or something like that. So you can put some demands in there too around your protecting your property. So.
Thank you, Denise. Good point.
Yeah, I remember Tyler saying that there was a deadline in 2028. If they didn't have the school property and they didn't have the land prepped at a certain time, that they wouldn't be receiving the funds. So if the school just refused, then maybe the people in this area have a better chance of, not seeing a semiconductor plant come in here and destroying our environment and our habitat and livelihoods and living spaces. So maybe you could hold the fort for us in the community.
Actually, I have a question that I forgot to ask before. The subdivision that would come, that is most likely going to come in on Morse and Hill, would that be Morse School District for those kids? That area, do you know?
Gaines?
Yeah, it would.
I think it would be Gaines. Yeah.
Gaines School.
The
Okay.
Morse School.
Yeah, it
They're
was.
talking about if they put a school in that
on
new,
Morse
that
and
new
Hill,
sub.
would those kids
Yeah,
go to
that
Gaines
subdivision.
Elementary
It's in
or
Gaines.
Morse?
Is that Gaines? South of Hill Road there?
Yeah, I believe that's.
Okay.
That would be Gaines?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's silly.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's
Like
still-
we got a school right out in
well,
front.
we would redistrict. I'm sure Jim would have it.
Yeah.
You would have the buses redistricted.
We would have to.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we'd have to do is redistrict. Go ahead.
Josh Davis, just real quick. Carrie, I've seen you take a lot of notes today. I just want to make sure you save or hold on to them. I'm going to FOIA request them later, so I just want to make sure
They're
you got them.
personal notes for me and
just what
my
we-
notes
you've
for
been taking a
my
lot of them.
my
so,
notes that I know I do take a lot of notes.
Yeah, so I
But,
think
but
it's mostly
these are
public.
my personal notes as well as the notes
Okay,
that I'll use
I'm
to
just letting you know,
prepare
just
my.
to hold on to them. I'm going to FOIA request them just for public record. Thank you.
Okay. Once, twice, 3 times. Mr. Kidd, any committee comments?
I do. For those of you who have Brian Bacol and Mike Mueller as your representatives, reach out to them. I spoke to both of them and got that there was basically, I'm ad-libbing, I'm not quoting them. It's a private project. We really have no stake in the game. If it's satisfied, I'm just telling you what they said. You can Who's that?
He's representing, and he's the one who's the chair of the oversight committee. And he's listening, and he knows that the money was given to the non-government organizations in an unlawful manner according to the Constitution. So that's the butt of this problem.
Oh, those are okay, but the separate issue here. So let's back up. We were talking about what role the school has, or the district would have in stopping it. That's the top. I don't. Exactly. That's a topic that keeps coming up at the podium. And per Mueller and Begol, there is none. They've got to give a X amount of foot buffer and basically build a berm to satisfy that. So when it comes to what role that we have in this, we have none. Well, but we're not going to sue them because the $256 million the state gave them, if it was done illegally, then my comment would be to contact the AG or a private attorney. We're not going to sue them for that. So again, like she said, we have no real stopping power unless they absolutely needed that parcel of property, which according to Brian, they do not.
And neither does the Michigan State Oversight Committee. They're looking into the corporate welfare as opposed to what's going all over the state. They cannot stop a specific project from moving forward. They can stop future money if they can get the rest of the
Begol and Mueller both said that with the Republicans in charge of both houses, they're not going to get another dime. Right. They both said that.
Yeah, keep order, Ken. It's just your comments right now. It's just your comments. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if not, we'll.
Sorry, you guys can't comment. Okay. But that's just a little insight into that when I talked to those two. So I would, both those gentlemen, one's adjacent to your area, the other one is Gaines anyhow. And so, chat with them. But they both told me the same thing. So I don't think that's a threat. The only possible threat would be to hold that piece of property. And I will quote Brian on that. Brian said they'll build a berm around your school and still build whatever they want to build.
Yeah.
Well,
Alyssa, do you have any comments?
No, I have a question.
Ms. Carey?
No, I just want to thank the board for doing this. I think this has been productive and helpful. And it's an opportunity for actually having a conversation that we can't really have elsewhere. So thank you for your time and appreciate it.
And Ms. Autumn?
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah.
As a board.
Did we consult the attorneys on what Miss Michelle was talking about? Did we ever ask what we could do to keep the kids safe there? I mean, regardless, considering all the construction going around the school right now, like, is there something we can do to keep that at a distance from the kids in the school? Or yeah.
Does anybody have any comment on that from the board?
Has anybody consulted the attorney on that?
I have not consulted the attorney. Then we could definitely do that. I'm not sure what kind of report that would be, but I could ask them to evaluate it.
To keep the kids safe?
Well, I think it'd be just like if we were a homeowner and somebody was putting dust in our building or, spitting up dirt on us or running gravel into our property or shedding water in our property. It would be more of a township ordinance thing with Monday Township. They would have to enforce it, or we would have to sue them civilly for that. So I would suggest that maybe you ask them that, saying if they're, in the meantime, while they're doing their construction, tearing down things, if they're destroying our property, if something's happened to our property, if they're shedding water on our property, if they're cutting our trees down, we do have legal ramifications as the owner of that property. I think that's
even
so
noise while learning is going on. Like,
I guess that would be a request from a board member to have you, which is it's legit. I mean, if you owned a house there, you'd be pissed about it too. So.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
I want to echo. You good?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
Thank you for everybody coming. I know these are long meetings, and this is our first one, and hopefully they'll get better. And the property one. Yeah, yeah, we had some open discussion. We got the property parts probably on the back burner. The building's on the back burner, but we'll get our technical data if we have to move forward. And then the first part is having this group come back to us and talk to us instead of just one person that they talked to before or communicate with one person. Is that cool? All right. I make a motion, or I entertain a motion to close the meeting.
A motion to support.
Motion's been made, support, all in favor?
Aye. We are
Thank
adjourned.
you.